Matthew part 3. Jesus rejected at Nazareth. And when Jesus had finished these parables, he went away from there, and coming to his hometown, he taught them in their synagogue, so that they were astonished. Is not his mother called Mary, his brothers James and Joseph and Simon and Judas? And are not all his sisters with us? They took offense. A prophet is not without honor except in his hometown and in his own household. And he did not do many mighty works there because of their unbelief. The death of John the Baptist. He has been raised from the dead. That is why these miraculous power are at work in him. For Herod had seized John and bound him and put him into prison for the sake of Herodias, his brother's Philip's wife, because John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." And though he wanted to put him to death, he feared the people because they held him to be a prophet. But when Herod's birthday came, the daughter of Herodias danced before the company and pleased Herod, so that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she might ask. Prompt by her mother, and his head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. And his disciples came and took the body and buried it, and they went and told Jesus. Jesus feeds the 5,000. This is a desolate place, and the day is now over. Send the crowds away to go into the villages and buy food for themselves. They need not go away. You give them something to eat. We only have 5 loaves and 2 fish. Bring them here to me. Then he broke the loaves, and the disciples gave them to the crowds. And they all ate and were satisfied, and they took up the 12 baskets full of broken pieces left over. And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. Jesus walks on the water. When evening came, he was there alone, the boat, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the 4th watch of the night he came to them, walking on the sea. They were terrified. "It's a ghost." And they cried out in fear, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid." And Peter answered, Command me to come to you on the water. Come. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. Jesus immediately reached out his hand. "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" Jesus heals the sick in Gennesaret. They came to Gennesaret and implored him that they might only touch the fringe of his garment. And as many as touched it were made well. Traditions and commandments. Then Pharisees and scribes came to Jesus from Jerusalem and said, "Why do your disciples break the tradition of the elders? For they do not wash their hands when they eat." He answered them. Okay, another one I'm going to skip here. What defiles a person? It's a good one. You should read it. The faith of a Canaanite woman. A Canaanite woman. "Have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon. I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me. It is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." "O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire." And her daughter was healed instantly. Jesus heals many. And he went up to the mountain, and they put them at his feet, and he healed them. Jesus feeds the 4,000. I have compassion on the crowd, because they have been with me now 3 days, and have nothing to eat. And I am unwilling to send them away hungry, lest they faint on the way. They said, 7 and a few small fish. He took the 7 loaves and the fish, and they all ate, and they were satisfied. Those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. He got into the boat, went to Magadan. The Pharisees and the Sadducees demand signs. And the Pharisees and Sadducees came, and to test him, they asked him to show them a sign from heaven. He answered them. So he left them and departed. The leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Watch and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And they began discussing it among themselves, saying, We brought no bread. But Jesus, aware of this, said, Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the leaven of their bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Peter confesses Jesus as the Christ. The district of Caesarea Philippi, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. But who do you say that I am? Simon Peter replied, You are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah. Then he strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that he was the Christ. Jesus foretells his death and resurrection. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, Far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen to you. Behind me, Satan, you are a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man. Okay, another one I'm going to skip that you should read. Take up your cross and follow Jesus. The Transfiguration. And after 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. Face shone like the sun. Clothes became white as light. There appeared to them Moses and Elijah, talking with them. Peter said, I will make 3 tents, one for you, and one for Moses, and one for Elijah. A voice from the cloud said, This is my beloved Son, who I am well pleased with. Listen to him. Disciples fell on their faces and were terrified, but Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and have no fear. And when they lifted up their eyes, they saw no one but Jesus only. Tell no one of the vision until the Son of Man is raised from the dead. Disciples asked him, Then why do the scribes say that first Elijah must come? Elijah does come, and he will restore all things. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also the Son of Man will certainly suffer at their hands. Then the disciples understood that he was speaking to them of John the Baptist. Jesus heals a boy with a demon. Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is an epileptic. He falls into fire and water. Your disciples could not heal him. O faithless and twisted generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him here to me. And Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him. Disciples came to Jesus. Why could we not cast it out? Because of your little faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith like a grain of mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, Move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. Jesus again foretells his death and resurrection. As they were gathering in Galilee, the Son of Man is about to be delivered into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and he will be raised on the third day. And they were greatly distressed. The temple tax. Why then, when they came to Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma tax went up to Peter. Does your teacher, I should have fixed that. Does your teacher not pay the tax? He said yes. And when he came into the house, Jesus spoke, What do you think, Simon? From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tax? From their sons or from others? From others. Then the sons are free. However, not to give offense to them, go to the sea and cast a hook and take the first fish that comes up, and when you open its mouth, you will find a shekel. Take that and give it to them for me and for yourself. Okay, I'm going to skip a whole bunch of these ones. Who is the greatest? Temptations to sin. The parable of the lost sheep. If your brothers sin against you. The parable of the unforgiving servant. Teaching about divorce. Let the children come to me. The rich young man. Laborers in the vineyard. Jesus foretells his death a third time. A mother's request.